Hello everybody, this is Danny from Deep South Homestead. We're out here in our greenhouse again today, guys. It has been raining for the latter part of the day. This morning it didn't rain. It was all actually pretty hot and muggy this morning. But it's one of the first times in the South. The things that you have to understand is this morning it was actually 71 degrees when we got up. A few hours later it was 67 degrees. And then now it's up to 77 degrees. And that's all it's done today. The wind is blowing. It's actually very cool. The fans in the greenhouse haven't even come on. Of course, now I've had other fans going in here. We had a little box fan in here that we were experimenting with to see if air movement in the greenhouse was going to make a big difference about the temperature in the greenhouse / high tunnel. And guys, it did make a difference. So I told Wanda, I said, you know what? I'm going back to Grower Solutions, and I'm going to look at their ventilation fans. Now they have several different fans. We've actually purchased several from them, even for the other greenhouse over here. We got now what we call circulation fans. They're small fans. They're about 12 inches in diameter. We have one mounted over here to my left, and then I'm fixing to mount one down here on my right. I already have the bracket down here, and what it does is one of them blows one way in the greenhouse and one blows the other way in the greenhouse, and it creates a vortex in the top of the greenhouse that actually stops the humidity from forming in the top of the greenhouse. And that is a big plus in the Deep South here where we live at, is actually the fact that there's no humidity, because humidity is where a lot of your viruses and funguses come from. I'm going to run back here and hook up the other fan and get it. We don't have the wiring for it yet, but I'm going to go ahead and mount the fan so I'll know how much conduit to get and stuff like that. Now, and when I get through, what we'll do is we'll take you on a tour around the greenhouse and show you what's left, what we've downed, and how everything else is going. Matter of fact, I haven't even unwrapped it yet. It's not actually, I mean, they're a little bit heavy, so I mean, it's not that heavy, but it's just awkward to handle. There we go. It comes wrapped with shrink wrap around it. This thing is made so that it can mount in a lot of different directions. The one in the front up there, we have mounted hanging up like this right here. Because when you mount it like this, you can tilt it this way. You can tilt it all the way down this way. We now have one on the back and one on the front, in opposite sides of the greenhouse, creating a vortex in the top so that we don't have any humidity problems. Okay guys, we got it hooked up now. We don't have our wiring ran for everything, but I do have a plug-in over here. So I'm going to plug it up and kind of let you see how that it's working. As you can see, it's a little small fan, but it's a high volume fan. It's blowing air all the way to the other end of the greenhouse. As a matter of fact, as we go through the greenhouse, you can see the tops of the plants all down in yonder. Actually, the plastic on the other end of the greenhouse, way down here, you can actually see the plastic will be waving down there because of the fan is actually moving air that far down on that end. The other fan is mounted way down here. It'll be blowing in the opposite direction once we get the electrical conduit and all the stuff ran in here. We have to go purchase all that because it's got to be done a specific way because of the moisture in the greenhouse. But you can see the plants are waving in the air. There's lots of air moving up in the top just from one fan. Alright, we're going to start right here in this corner. This is where we had the problem with the grazon at. All through here was grazon soil. I dug it all out. We went to town. We bought some more topsoil that was more sphagnum peat moss than it was anything else. I went over in the woods in one of our trash piles, and I dug up a lot of good dirt out of there that had been rotting for years. And you can see the stuff that's in the dirt, pieces of wood. This is almost like hugelkultur, really. See how the wood is beginning to, I can take my hands and mash it. It's beginning to break down into the soil, which makes really good topsoil. Now Wanda has taken here and planted, this is called bush okra. We got this from the Grow Family Network. It actually makes a tree that you can just walk by and eat the okra off of it. What I understand, it's not slimy. So we're gonna try it and see how it works. And guys, go check out Grow Family Network. They're fantastic people. Got a good channel over there. And we want to thank them for us being able to get the seeds from them to be able to plant this and give us some bush okra here at Deep South Homestead. This here is a purple bell pepper that was actually covered up by the yellow wax beans that was here, the Cherokee yellow wax beans. And when I took the beans up, I forgot that this pepper I planted was up under all of it, so I kind of left it, and I think it'll eventually pull out, because actually, to be honest with you, it's really just now getting warm enough for peppers to actually start growing, and I'll show you why. Because here you have the California Wonder bell peppers. Now we have picked several giant bell peppers off of these things, and they just was like this a few weeks ago. Now look at them, it's getting good and hot. They're starting to jump up. We had a little problem with a few flea beetles on them. I think we got that under control. And they're going to do great here by themselves. Of course, we have our onion chives. They're just now starting to kick in. It's getting warm enough for that. Got a couple of patio tomatoes here, just as an experiment here. And then, this is where we took down our giant cucumber plant. This arbor is just clean now. But guys, I want you to look at my yellow Marconi peppers. Now if I stand here, look at this. These things just in the last week have decided they want to grow. And I mean, we picked a bunch of peppers off of them the other day to add to our homemade salsa that we're making, but we left a few too because I like to see the yellow ones. And down the bottom down here, you can see here, they're starting to get that hint of yellow turn in them there. That's what we're looking for. We got a couple more over here we let go. Right up in here. These things are big old beautiful peppers there. Got a, you know, the plants are literally loaded with peppers. I mean, they're all up in them everywhere. We want to thank Jen from the Nut House. She actually sent us these seeds in last year, and they're working beautiful, guys. They are doing fantastic. A part of the bed we had some questions about having any grazon in it, because the strawberries kept dying that we were putting in here, and we kind of figured there was a little bit in the bed. But then all of a sudden the strawberries have started taking off and growing, and these petunias came up in here. They were just seeds that was in the soil when I dug up off of my property. And I decided, you know what? If there is a touch of grazon left in here, I'm just going to let the petunias go and let them pull it up. Plus I got a couple of sunflowers in here. And we got the Malabar Spinach. Guys, never in my life have I seen Malabar Spinach have leaves that big. Look at that.
This is usually what
This is what they usually look like. But look at this. Look at that. Huge. This is our dwarf banana tree. It's finally starting to come up out of the soil. We're beginning to wonder about it, but you know what? I was putting my hand on the soil and I got to realizing this dirt's still cold. And it finally warmed up enough in here that this thing has actually started growing. And then here is my sunflowers in the greenhouse. Now these are only like, I don't know, a couple of 3 weeks old. So they're not really big yet. I don't know how big they're going to get, but we're going to see in the greenhouse if they even make it at all and see how big they actually do get. Now this is the Mammoth Sunflower. Supposedly they make giant they make giant heads. I just don't know how tall it's going to get. So we'll see in time. We'll keep you updated as time goes on. And right beside it here, of course, we have our Owari Satsumas. They're hanging in there really well. We've got some nice looking little satsumas on here. I think they're going to do good. I didn't over pollinate the tree because I knew it was young. First year in this small pot. And then guys, we have the Empress Peach. Look at this thing. When we got this thing from Grower Solutions here this past spring, it was just about this tall. It was just a stick. I mean, it was like a stick. And now look at it. It's done turned in 1 year. It ain't even a year. It's like, what, 6 months. It is
3 or 4 months.
Actually, it's just 4 months, ain't it?
4 months old, and we've done had peaches on it.
4 months, we've ate peaches off of it, and now it's, look how it's taken off and growing. I mean,
it's beautiful.
Beautiful, and I got it in a tiny pot. I wish I'd have put it in a bigger pot, but this fall we're going to take it out of this pot and put it in one of these bigger pots so it's got more room to grow. And then here we have our Calamandan dwarf. It's actually a dwarf Calamandan. It's finally starting to put some new growth on, which tells me the root system is finally starting to take hold. We're anxious to see just how fast it's going to grow here in the greenhouse. Then we have 2 pineapples here. These are Deep South Homestead pineapples. We've saved both of them from our pineapples. We're excited that we're actually able to save our own pineapples here at Deep South Homestead. This is our other Calamandan dwarf orange. It's starting to put on some new growth, and guys, I'm amazed. I want to show you something. I planted some okra. Now this is a Hoss tool okra here, the jambalaya. I planted a bunch of them in this tray to sit out in the garden, and I left some of them in here, and I just have roots growing in water down here. Look at that. This okra could technically be grown hydroponically in here because I have harvested, I can't even tell you how much okra has come off of these few little old plants. And look, they still got okra on them. And I just left them there. And yet, they're actually working. And then we have our lemon tree here, and we got a little friend here trying to hide out. We need to get rid of him before he does any damage. There we go. If we got this lemon tree, this is a Meyer lemon. It has bloomed like 3 or 4 times this year. The blooms take, then they fall off. The temperature in the greenhouse, I think the fluctuations of the temperature in the greenhouse has been the whole problem. It gets cold in here like it is today. It's like, a while ago it was 68. Now it's 76. And then tomorrow it might be 99. And this thing, it gets confused. So I think with these new fans in here with the vortex in the air and all, we'll be able to moderate the temperature a lot better, and it'll prevent it from blooming and just keep blooming and dropping its fruit. But we have lots of lemons hanging on here. There's several of them actually doing really nice. So I don't think we're going to do without any lemons. And here we have Miss Wanda. She's taking her Hoss tool pot and seed potter there. And she's got her a lot of little plants growing in here, mostly flowers. And she had some of the bush okra here from Grow Family Network. Still got a couple of them coming up here. When they get up, we'll move them somewhere else.
And the moth beans.
Then the what? Moth beans.
Yes.
Okay, I don't know what that is, but Ms. Wanda evidently knows. That's something she's come up with. Yeah, it makes an edible bean?
They're tiny.
They're tiny, okay.
Somebody sent like 5 or 6 seeds. There's not, or well, there was probably about 20 seeds.
About 20 seeds in?
About 20 seeds. And so we're trying them to see if we can make, they're supposed to be a rare thing. You don't find many of them or something.
Okay.
So we're going to try it.
We'll try it and see then. And then here we have our New Haven, or Red Haven, I think it's Red Haven, peach. This is a dwarf peach. And guys, when we got this, we showed y'all in a couple of videos back, this was just a little stick. It was like this tall. Look at it now. Evidently, it loves its environment in here. It's doing good. I anticipate by, I don't know, probably by this fall, it may be way up here. Next year, maybe it might have peaches on it. Who knows? Okay, we have a couple of our bouquet deals. These were Hoss tool seeds that we planted. And, of course, we love dill. We use it in lots of things here. We're going to try to let it go to seed so that we'll be able to harvest some seeds off of it. And then we have our sweet red roaster peppers in the back here, guys. Look at these things, just how beautiful they are. They have actually turned into trees. And y'all, as y'all know, I told you in previous videos, we thought we had peppermint, but it ended up being spearmint in here. It's growed all up in the peppers up here. Doesn't seem to affect anything with the peppers. We've done it for bug control. And it's worked out pretty good because you can see we got little red roaster peppers. Look at all them little peppers. They're starting to just now getting hot enough to put peppers on. We got a lot of little peppers coming along in here. And then we have our Freedom Blackberries. Now, guys, these things, I never know when anything is going to fruit in a greenhouse. This is my first year doing this. Technically, these things should have done fruited and been over with. But they're just now putting on the berries. I mean, literally, they got a lot of berries on them here. Look at them. I'm anxious to see how big they get. And you know, a lot of the subscribers told me in the past that Danny, clip the tops out of them. So I came in here, I clipped the tops out right here, you know, here, and then look what happened. It's done branched out and it's going way up yonder, and look at the top of it. It's starting to bloom. It's going to have berries way up there in the top. So we've got several of them in the pots here. And then we have more of the Red Haven peaches here, the dwarfs. We got two more right here. These were little sticks. I got to get this one kind of stuck up where to stand up straight. It's leaned over on me there. And then beside it, you can see the banana peppers. And guys, we have picked banana peppers and picked banana peppers.
They're a lot like yours last year.
They are. We've only got, like, how many plants we have here? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got 7 plants. And I'll guarantee you, all the way till fall, we're going to be picking peppers. The other day I got like 25 off of here. And there's still peppers. I mean, they're popping out everywhere. Same thing happened to me last year. We just didn't think we was going to have any peppers, and all of a sudden, we had so many peppers we didn't know what to do with peppers. We just started cutting them up, putting them in the freezer. We had so many. So we're kind of anticipating that the same thing is going to happen this year with the peppers. And then this is the other Empress Peach. Look at this thing, guys. It's all fixed to be 8 feet tall. Isn't that amazing? I mean, this thing has just took off. It was a little tiny stick. And now it's done turned into a full-fledged tree. I'm totally amazed that it's gotten as big as it has. And then we come here. Now this is a tree that I was in question about. We got this from Gurney's. This is a dwarf Meyer lemon, and when we got it, it had no leaves on it. It was just, you could see they had pruned the tops off of it everywhere. It was just sticks. And I was like, oh no, this thing ain't gonna live. But you know what? It's pulling out, and it's actually starting to put some leaves on. And this is our other Owari Satsuma here. They're hanging in there, doing really well. I think that it's going to do good. Look at the new growth coming out on it here. Look at this. That's beautiful. All the new growth. That tells me that it must be happy where it's at. Now this is one that kind of took me by surprise. This here is a Dwarf Blueberry. It's called a North Star. We got this from Gurney's. Guys, it bloomed when we got it. We picked the blueberries off of it, and all of a sudden, it started putting new growth on, and it bloomed again. It has put blooms on. Look at here. It's got berries on it again. That's amazing. I don't know how many times this thing will bloom for us, but I don't care as long as it's working. You know, here in the greenhouse, the Dwarf Blueberry, that's what we're going to do, is eventually turn this greenhouse into nothing but fruit trees of all kinds of the dwarf varieties. That's our end goal. Now the beds on the side will be planted with cool season crops, but the pots down the middle will be strictly, once we get all the vegetables out of it this year, will be strictly fruit trees of some sort. Now on the side over here, we still have our Italian flatleaf parsley in the back. It is going wacko back there. We've got our Jersey Supreme, I'm sorry, from Grower Solutions, asparagus. And Ms. Wanda, believe it or not, is eating on this stuff really daily. It keeps putting shoots up daily. So it's doing good. And our curly leaf parsley has pulled back out from the black swallowtail butterfly caterpillars that was on it. It's starting to come back a little bit. They almost destroyed it. But it's coming back now that it's had a little bit of time. And we're still experimenting with okra in the greenhouse. This okra is just now starting to grow. The ground is just now getting warm enough for this jambalaya okra to actually start producing. But I kept testing. That ground right now is actually cold. And for me, that just blows my mind here in the Deep South in this greenhouse, getting up to 90-something degrees during the day, and that ground is still just as cold as it can be. Now here we have a couple of more of the jambalayas that they're doing really well. They're kicking off and getting, but I tell you, I look at the thermometer here, 90% humidity right now since we turned the fans off, but it's only 76 degrees in here. So, guys, it is 4:16 in the evening in the Deep South. This is our hottest time of the day. Yesterday this time, the heat index was 102 degrees.
But
Today,
it's raining.
It's raining, and you see the temperature is 76 degrees right here right now. And I want to show you, this is what white fly infestations will do. We've got them under control now, but look at what they've done to the tomatoes in here. They literally destroyed the tomato plants. I mean, we only had a couple of tomatoes left in here, so we just left them. Because this morning I actually picked about 15 tomatoes off of them. We only got a few more tomatoes to go, and we're just going to pull the plants up and get them out of here, because guys, we ain't got no shortage of tomatoes. We got more than we need what to do with. But I want to show you these little, the sticky traps. Look at how many white flies. I mean, this thing is literally infested with all kinds of insects. Mainly white flies, but there is a few other types of flies on there. I took several of them off. I had several of them hanging here. I'd highly recommend these sticky traps for greenhouses and high tunnels and things like that. Even this okra here, I just hung one yesterday right here, and look at this. You don't believe these insects gets in these greenhouses, even though I have this one screened in. This thing still gets covered up with insects. I mean, I can show you right here. I have this one up under my peach trees. Look at this. Look at that. It is literally covered up with insects. I have it just stuck right up under my peach trees right there, because the insects like to go underneath plants and come up under from the bottom. I don't talk too much about this right here. These have been kind of a little project of mine. This is mulberries. We don't have any mulberries over at the cabin, and I wanted to be able to plant a few over there. So I took some cuttings off of the limb, and I stuck them on here, and I said, well, they'll live or they'll die. I'm not really sure. And I picked this one up a while ago, and I looked, and right there, I'm beginning to see the little roots forming in this clear cup. I watched a video, and a lady said, use clear cups, and I only had a couple. Said you'll be able to see the roots in them, and you know if they're taking. So they're evidently starting to take. This one don't have any leaves on it yet, but the ones in the red solo cups, look at that. They already have leaves on them. Now I can't see the roots in them, but the one in the other red solo cup, now this is amazing. The red solo cups, I don't know if it has anything to do with it, but the red solo cups is putting leaves on. The clear ones are not. Now I don't know.
They got buds. The clear ones got buds.
The clear ones have got buds on them. I don't see any roots forming in this one yet. But we're hoping to be able to take them and transplant them over at the cabin so we can have some mulberries over at the cabin like we have over here. And then here we have, what we got here, 3 more? Yeah, we have 1, 2, 3 more of our bell peppers. Guys, I harvested bell peppers off of these things the other day. They would just fit in the palm of my hand. And I have big hands, and I thought that was amazing. I was like, these things were like that big around. Beautiful, giant bell peppers. And the thing about it is they're not putting a lot of bell peppers on. I mean, but they do have some. You see how they're starting in here? Another one here. But it's just now, like the other peppers, it's just now getting warm enough that they're actually growing. I mean, look at the color. Look how deep, dark green these leaves are. I mean, I ain't lying to y'all. I push my plants. I am pushing these plants as fast and as hard as I can with as much fertilizer as I can without overdoing it. And the minerals and nutrients I'm putting into the soil. And I know y'all are going to ask. I'm going to go ahead and tell you, what are you doing? I'm using liquid phosphorus from Dr. Earth. I'm using calcium nitrate. I am using Dr. Earth's Bloom and Grow Fertilize. I'm putting this stuff to this and plus I'm using magnesium, Epsom salts, because in a greenhouse high tunnel, magnesium deficiency is a really big issue in greenhouses and high tunnels. So you have to, every 2 weeks, I add those things to these plants, and plus they get watered every day. So guys, as you can see through the greenhouse here, what's left that we haven't taken out, everything is really doing fantastic. I mean, we keep getting asked the question, how's the greenhouse doing in this heat that we're having? It's actually doing really well. Now that we have these fans, as soon as I can get to town and get the rest of the electrical conduit and all in here and the plug-ins and stuff and switches, that I can turn both of these fans on during the day and let them go, I think we'll actually end up with a lot better results in this greenhouse. So guys, thank y'all for going on this journey with me through the greenhouse. I hope to be able to show you the other greenhouse in just a few weeks maybe. We'll have it far enough along that we can give you some videos on that. People over on Patreon have already seen some updates on it. We keep them updated as to what we're doing and how it's going. And hopefully, before long, we'll be able to put the plastic on it and get the shade cloth on it and start putting the raised beds in it and actually get that baby up and get it going, because it has a whole different fan system than this one has. Now, it does have the 2 vortex fans in the top, but it's actually got exhaust fans on it that's so big it'll pull the plastic off of it if it ain't all synchronized right. So we've got to make sure we get that one done right. So guys, anyway, thank you for coming on this journey with us, and thank y'all for watching us here at Deep South Homestead.